in Ois Gimel that the whole Milchama of the Yevonim was a Milchama Ruchnius against, and then there was an Arichas here, not Torah mitzvahs per se, but Elikus. And then there was the whole Ha'orah there, the footnote, addressing the order of things, the apparent contradiction in the words of the Rambam and the resolution and the order and the two ways to understand it, two orders in fact. That was Ha'orah 31. Continuing now, the primary text by the number 32 in the text. And that's the diuk that we say in Alanissim, they wanted the Yidden to forget your Torah. Why didn't it just say to forget the Torah? Obviously, it's your Torah. Teresecha dafke, because the diuk is shagam hayevonim la yichbas kol kach. The Levonim also didn't concern them that much. He saw Yilmedu Torah, that Yidden learn Torah. That was not the problem. That Yidden should learn Torah, approaching it as a philosophy, something rational. As the Pasuk itself says, Moishe Rabbonon says to the Yidden, this is your wisdom, your Chachman been in the eyes of the nations of the world. So that's how Torah itself defines itself. The nations of the world. So the Avonim were saying, well, that's we want not just laying the Amim, we want you to learn Torah that way. Now, okay, we'll go further a little bit. Yeah. The main Milchama was that Yidden should forget your Torah, lashkiach chas v'sholem es Yisrael, to make Jews forget shat-Torah Torah savaya. So it's interesting to note, I'm not going to go into it, it's not deny, but forget. But forget, the Yidden should deny. What's the answer? What's the answer? I'll never get a Jew to do that. You can't. They forget, yeah. Likewise, mitzvahs, not just Torah. Not so much the observance itself. The rituals are beautiful. Tradition is beautiful. Tradition, right? The whole movie. But rather, what was the problem? The Milchama was that the Eibush is Ratzon. It's a living Torah. It's now, God wills it, and it's now, and it's his Ratzon. It's two things. A, it's present tense, and it's the Eibishter's Ratzon. Meaning to say, as he goes on to say, the Be'etzim, it's all higher than rationale. The Zel Avido Mechuket Itzinecha, and that is the diak also in the Alanissim, when talking or defining mitzvahs, it's defined as Chuket Itzinecha. The statutes of your will. Chukim is only one category, but that's the diak. Chukei dafke, but it's dafke, the diak is chukim, which because they are the mitzvahs that are beyond rationale, transparently so. And ritzenecha, will is beyond seichel. That was the Milchama. Now he says there are the shnei pirushim bazeh. So there's two pirushim in their kavanah. In these words, chukei ritzenecha. Number one, simple. Shala mitzvahs, the eidos and mishpatim, the other categories of eidos and mishpatim, meaning to say mitzvahs that bear testimony, that's logical. Mishpatim, logical mitzvahs, civil law and so on, the yosam mitzvahs sichliyas, since they have a basis in rationale. Hiskim magama yevonim. So that they said, go ahead. But the Milchama was against chukim and ritzinecha. Those mitzvahs which defy rationale, like paraduma, shatnas, and so on, even kashrus, that's what they were against. Because why would a Jew do them? Only because it's God's will, super rational, and they worship reason, they worship nature. Worship meaning to say that they said everything will be figured out. If not today, tomorrow. actually believed in a God, but the God that they believed in, or the spiritual forces they believed in, were comprehensible, were a parallel to the human condition, a reflection of the human condition, and all finite, and all can be figured out.
Shabbos is which category? Because that was one of their main campaigns. Shabbos.
So it came later. It came later. We learned in our order that it came later. It's about the Ikik Zayre. See, Shabbos is somewhere in between. A day of rest makes a lot of sense for a healthy society. So, on the other hand, Shabbos points to the Creator. So it's in between. But with the Gzeiris, the pale mamish, as we learned in the order, came later. Or they came earlier, but that wasn't the Ikik Kavana. You saw order 31.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, Pirush Beis. Now the second Pirush in the Gzeira, the Milchama against Chukei Ritzinecha, is not, as we said, the first Pirush. They're maskim, therefore, to observe the other mitzvahs that are logical. But a Pirush Beis by Mekiyoy said, the Zeh Mashe Bikshul Avin Chukei Ritzinecha, Ubechol HaMitzvahs, they wanted this, that Yidden shouldn't fulfill your will and your statutes. This applies to all mitzvahs. Gam ba mitzvahs eidos mishpatim, because even the mitzvahs eidos mishpatim, because as he goes on to say, all mitzvahs be'etzim or be'pnimius are higher than seichel, even eidos mishpatim. And ha'orah 34, very telling ha'orah. V'chem le'idach. Not only was the milchama that don't do eidos and mishpatim because it's a chayk, the same as, otherwise they're masking you could do it if you're doing eidos and mishpatim because it's rational, that's fine. Likewise, the milcham against chukim themselves. V'chein le'idach sheskimu, this amere dike vort. Sheskimu gam al kira mitzvah the chukim. They also agreed keep chukim, but chukim are beyond understanding. With the proviso, however, was their condition. Mitzad zeh, in italics, out of 34, shaseichel mechayev. You don't know the reason, but your logic says it's got to be a good reason. You trust God that it's a good reason. And moreover, I'm sorry, that's not the DK. That's another, okay, there's two separate inyanim.
Yeah, if you trust God, it's still mitzvah secha, right?
Yeah, it's not, I'm correcting what I'm saying. There's two inyanim. There's one inyan that says in Chassidus, which is not the point of this order now. There's one inyan that says that there's there's a higher darg in the order here, a deeper milchama. There's one level milchama is that they were masking to keep the chukim as long as you believe there's a reason. Then that's why God commanded it. You don't know it, but there's a reason. One day I get to it. Moishe Rabbonon knew all the reasons except for actually everything, all the reasons, even paraduma. So that they're masking. What's the problem? As it goes on to say, there's daled that the pnimius of all mitzvahs are higher than seichel period. Now we'll soon get to that order. It's even a deeper milcham. What do you want to say?
No, I was just saying that if it's because the Yibusha has a reason for it, I don't know what the reason is, then it's still...
And there is a reason. There's a reason. There's a value. There's a rational value in this. We don't know it. He has it, the creator. Their creator is a rational creator. Their creator, maskim, if you believe in God as the great artist, the great creator, the great divine intelligence that creates the world, maskim. So that means everything he does is rooted in intelligence. It's super intelligence. It's divine intelligence. You don't know the reason, but there's a good reason. That they're maskim. That the etzem, it's mecham on Eibishter on Torah. That the Eibishter is be'etzem hide in seichon. Therefore, his rotzen, that was their melcham. As the Maimon will go on to say and explain in Ois Dalet. Just want to point out that without Chassidus, if you speak to, this is the logical conclusion. Without Chassidus, because human nature is that you judge everything based on yourself, unless you're introduced to something which is completely beyond you. So without Chassidus, the God that the Greeks were masking, that Eden should worship, that's the God without Chassidus. You ask someone who doesn't learn Chassidus why he keeps Chukim, they'll all tell you the same thing, and I've actually tried this. Because Eibush has good reasons. B'diuk what the Greeks would say, beautiful. Go ahead. That's the whole motivation. The whole motivation, I don't know the reason, but there's a good reason. And on this is the whole Milchama. Nicht das is the Eibishter, and that's not what Torah Mitzvahs is. It's not what a Yid is. So it took Chassidus to reveal what Chanukah is. It took Chassidus to reveal what everything is, but it's really powerful when it comes to Chanukah, because this is a philosophical war. It reminds me of the Vod. I think I told the story that they asked Chatshafeg it was Chanya Barazach. Hashem, you can domri. Who does he hold more of, Moishe Rabbeinu or the Rebbe, meaning the Rebbe Rashab? And he answered, the Rebbe Rashab. They're like, what? If it's not for the Rebbe Rashab, but have any appreciation of Moishe Rabbeinu is. So this is Chag HaChagim. It's an outlandish kind of statement. Chag HaChagim. It's one thing to say it's another Chag. Chag HaChagim. The word is, it's not another Chag, but it's a Chag that illuminates every other Chag and every other aspect of Torah.
But don't we give that answer for in other areas? It's going to off track, feel free not to answer. But in terms of Jewish suffering, for example, I often hear the answer that we don't know the answer. We don't even want to know the answer, but Hashem knows why, has a reason for part of the plan and so
on. The answer is no. I don't want to hear any reasons even from God. As we always say, the big question is not why, but where were you? So the answer has to be not I did this for that, but that moment itself was me and I was there with you in the deepest way. That's not a rational answer. And that's the big pain. It's not why. So you get explanation, now we're going to sleep at night. Now we understand why there was 6 million. It's not why, it's where were you? And the answer to where were you is only I was there with you in the deepest way, which is not a rational thing. Not a rational thing, yeah. As we said on Shabbos, since we're addressing it, the mind will talk about it. Nisav HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not a reason for creation. It's not the reason, it's the purpose. There's a fundamental difference. There is no reason for creation. At the core, there's no reason. At the core, there's no reason. The Eibush is beyond fundamentally reason. And just like God exists for no reason, and if there's a reason for his existence, then forget him and worship the reason that's responsible for his existence. The Eibush is because he is. So too, the Rotzen, the Nisave, the Rotzen Atzmi of Dirib Tachtonim is not because of any reasons, because it's a free choice, free of all considerations and values, because he created them and he's utterly beyond them. Dirib Tachtonim is, you created, what's the purpose? But why do you need a purpose? No answer to that. Why do you need a purpose for creation? No answer, because beyond the whole realm of Shilas. As I said many times, even in our world, we can appreciate that you don't have an answer to a question, not because there's no answer, because the question doesn't get there. An example of what Chassidus is, you were learning now a concept, and someone's going to ask you, how much does it weigh? Which pocket do you have it? You learned the deep concept, how much does it weigh? Can't answer it. The guy is asking legitimate question, how much does it weigh? Can't answer the question, because concepts don't weigh. Which pocket do you have it and how it? Even though we talk about a weighty concept, soft, because in our world everything is, but it's a window into our questions to which there are no answers because there's no question. Or even simple example, the kid comes on time to class and the teacher says, "Why do you come late?" We can't answer the question. Can't answer why you came late. Doesn't stick, doesn't get there because you didn't come late. So you don't have an answer, not because you don't have an answer, because your question doesn't address the reality, hasn't gotten there. So lo shayach. So why did God create such an Irish question? You're addressing Atzmos, he created why. Why is all part of time. Why implies before, during, after. Every question why implies change. Something is what's questioned that. You can't ask why, it just is. Every question why means it wasn't, it is, what will it be? It implies time. Time is a mamish akabbaladik creation all the way down. Ishtaushalos doesn't even start in Atzilus. There's not even why in Atzilus, Bemis. Starts in Bria. And even there, a very subtle kind of why, because it's Zman, it's Dargis, and it's not even spatial, it's all an Indian. But above that, it's not even Shaykh. So Dir B'Tachtonim is not why. Dir B'Tachtonim is what's the purpose. Now the Eibush revealed the purpose, now a million whys. So how does this fit into the purpose? Why does this fit in? To which we have a million answers, and sometimes there's no answers, it's just the pure expression of the Ratzon Atzmi of Nisava, which can't be explained, like the Holocaust, other things that touches the core of the Atzmis Dik in Nisava, that there is no answer. Explanation. There are many explanations in the context of Ishtaushalos. Therefore, the mitzvah is done dafka this way and that way. There's an answer b'chlolos to everything. B'chlal, mitzvah dir b'tachtonim, but not in the pratim. We're getting sidetracked a little bit. We get the general idea. So look at now out of 34. So Meridika order. And Meridika order. Not only as I just said that the Yevonim were maskim, do mitzvahs, even chukim, as long as your motivation is there's a good reason I don't know. That's fantastic. Go ahead. That's a Judaism we can appreciate. More than that, that they're maskim to keep chukim. Mitzad zeh sha'seichel mechayiv. It's if your intellect itself tells you, sheyeshnom inyonim shalamanim haseichel. If intellect itself can appreciate that there must be that which is beyond intellect, and again, quantum physics is seeing this, that the order that we see in the world on a manifested level, we see that it comes from an infinite chaotic level, and maybe Seichos Mechayev, that infinite's got to be rooted in finite, has got to be rooted ultimately in an infinite. But that's an infinite that's Seviv Kalami. The maskim Seviv Kalami. That's an infinite that Seichel itself can appreciate its own limits, and there must be an eternal source. There's got to be a beginning that's eternal. There has to be a beginning that's eternal. So, in other words, Seviv Kalam, that's an infinite that Seichel is Mechayev, that Seichel obligates must exist. So what's missing? Atzmo, that's all. The Eibush beyond Bli Gvul and Gvul. Everything. That was the Milchama Atzmo. Visnakdusam gam lemitzvos elu haisarak. So their opposition was only that it's beyond even the intellectual appreciation. There's got to be an infinite dimension to reality, to life, to everything from which the finite manifestations emerge. That masking. What are they fighting against? So even if your creator is an infinite creator, that means infinite potential. Let me explain what that means. Infinite potential, and one of the potentials is the beautiful world that we know and the attributes, etc. Mask. That's Seichel. Atzmos is not infinite creator. It's beyond the whole gather of infinite Bli Gvul Gvul. And that was the Milchama. He's going to be masbid this in the Ois Dalet, exactly the Oisis we just said, but basically. So what's already now, again, this is very telling thing. So the motivation has to be, therefore, even the most logical mitzvahs, because this is the Ratzon of Atzmos. And that's the truth of it. And it's beyond finite, beyond infinite even. It's Eibishter, Gaman, beyond all Gedorim. So let's continue Ois Dalet. Excuse me. There was an ad that went around a while ago. I don't know if it was produced by Chabad. Thank God they dropped it, but He had said if the Greeks would see the way most Jews observe Chanukah or Yiddishkeit today, they would say we won. It's tradition. The story's a fairy tale and keep it because of the value of tradition. It's not a very nice thing to say, but so it was dropped. It was back in the 80s. But what I'm saying is even deeper. That's about the Freien. If you take that further, the way from here observes Chanukah today, mitzvahs today, they'd say we won. Without chassidus. You're doing it because of the seichel. And then if you don't have to understand the seichel, there is a good reason. That's that Baruch Hashem, that's changing with every passing day. With every passing day. I'll just share this with you because it's not I'm not waving my own flag. Obviously, it's just chassidus. So when it's just a cute thing. It's a story. It got wings, by the way. I heard it or exaggerated. So I'll tell you the way the story happened. So this was in North Miami. North Miami Beach is a frum place. There's 2,000 frum mishpachas. On Shabbos, they tell me there's no cars in the street. In the Chabad shul there under Rabbi Malo, it's 200 Lubavitch mishpachas. Very strong Lubavitch kehillah. And so there was a big Suda, so actually before the meal started, the Ingeman, Eli Laufer, who's the son-in-law of Rabbi Marlo, if you know him. So he introduced me to someone, a clean-shaven fellow. I'm not going to say his name. He's a Dafa Yomi kind of guy. He davens in one of the local Orthodox literature, sure. And lately he's become a little bit interested. This I find out later. He read Miller's book on the Rebbe, and he started. And the shliach tells me, laugh he had to do with him. Didn't say what, on what level. So when they put out Yutis Kislev, the advertisement, he asked, can I attend? I said, sure. And I just told you, introduced me before. It was an anomaly. Most of the guys were Lubavitches, a handful of clean-shaven people. Anyway, so he sat to me. I spoke for 7 hours, but he was there for, I don't think maybe the first was like 2 Fabrengens afterwards. I'm not sure if he stayed. For sure, not the last one, was just with a few shluchim, but maybe at the beginning of the first, but certainly for the main body of the talks. It was actually 2 talks. They broke it up during the Suda. Akopanim, so the next day afterwards, he texts the shliach there, he's buying a tang, he's going to start learning chassidus. From the Fabrengen, he's inspired. Good. Then he gets 3 days later a text from a shliach. He meets this, and the shliach tells him, I met one of your guys at the airport, and we were talking, and I'm a Lubavitcher, so and this fellow, obviously saw that, and now, and this is what he said to him. He said, till now, I all my life, I was a cold Litvak. And now I'm a 3-day-old warm Lubavitcher. It's 2 days after Yutis Kislev. I'm just telling you this story. As a 3-day-old warm Lubavitcher, just to express how the world today is the search and the openness. Rebbe, Chassidus, as unprecedented. Unprecedented. The barriers. The whole Melchama Katointi, the Maimon that we learned, and the Rebbe was cautioning, and the Kula Ulai, maybe they should put in the combined Ponim El Ponim. Back then it was Kula Ulai, it was like a dream. Now it's happening. Mamish. The story, Shon Ber Wasserman story, the Rav they have a Sheikh Chassidus now. The rabbi in South Africa, the head of Eisha Torah, the Rosh Yeshiva of Eisha Torah, and all this. Okay, Yuvan, let's go further a little bit. So to understand the Milchama, so Yuvan's up here, you do, to be understood in light of that which is known. Shagama mitzvahs edus mishpatim. That the emes is that even edus, which mitzvahs should be a testimony. So there's rational grounds for it. And certainly mishpatim, tzarich l'kayim be'iker, you have to keep them primarily b'pnei shim ratzon Hashem. Let me ask you a question. Why be'iker exclusively? Why does he put primarily you should do them because they're ratzon Hashem?
Can't discount the rationale.
Why not? Why can't you discount the rationale? If the etzim, the pnimi says that's the etzim, it's higher than seichel legamri.
It says Peter sets it up, right? The Eibishter made them. There's you have to bring down the etzim into the pratim. Something the pratim. There are more pratim, and there's
Using your mind.
Huh?
You're using your mind. You're elevating your mind by putting.
Also, if we're not on this level, we still gotta do that, even if we're not,
Everything you're saying is all true. Everything you're saying is all true. But let me. The shaila is, why did the Eibishter put his ratzon atzmi and all the reasons al levushim? It's like the wrapping. The ratzon atzmi, pashat. How does it work? The ratzon atzmi is drawn through ishtalshalos, atzilus, bri, etzir, asiyah, and it's there that the mitzvahs acquire the reasons. Atzilus, Kabbalah reasons, and bria, and alderach, drush, and gemara,
That's how we find.
and yitzir, remez, and asiyah, pshat. So all the pardes, the whole 4 levels, the oilimus, and the ratzon atzmi. So why do that? It's all part of dirib tachtonim. At the end of the day, it means like this. This is what the Pnimi is. The mind is going to say this. It's not simply that we should appreciate. It's not simply that, look, the Eibush should put it in this packaging. It's his packaging. Someone gives you a gift, and they put it in an elaborate, beautiful packaging. You don't just appreciate the gift, you got to appreciate the packaging, right? Did they put it in? All that's true. But the nekuda is, when you learn Torah with seichel, and you understand it, what you need to appreciate is this seichel itself. Why is there seichel? Why is this thing called logic? Where does this come from? Logic is not, to make it very clear. Our starting point is logic is a given. Mitzias is a given. 1 and 1 and 2 is a given. It's not at all. It's not a given. It's all part of the creation. It's all part of the Ratzon Ha'atzmos. And once it's there, it becomes teva and becomes reality, and that's the way. That's reality. Reality is there's time and space and logic. But the emes is it's only b'chirus atzmos. So therefore, when we learn all the reasons, what really has to take us is not the reason, but that what's the geschmack in the reason? That you chose to express your ratzon atzmi and all of these reasons. That's their value. But at the same time, you have to understand the reason. And going deeper, you created me with a mind that has a gishmak and appreciates the reason. So I'm having a gishmak and I'm enjoying the reason. But why should there be an I? And why should there be a gishmak? And why should there be a reason? Because that's your ratzon. So the ratzon atzmi carries through in every experience of seichel and understanding, etc. So there is a gishmak, and we have to understand. But at every moment, that's why you have to make a bracha. The Alter Rebbe says, Tanya, you got to stop mizman and pause to think, because we can get lost in logic. This is it. This is where it starts and ends. No, the whole gather of logic only exists because you decided to free choice. It's not a given. There's no basis in ultimate reality at all, which is Eibishter. It's your choice. So this is after the tzava. We bring to bed the nekuda atzmi, the emes, to every expression, meaning that every expression is only valid and true because you chose to express yourself, not because the expression itself, I mean to say logic and the construct of nature is intrinsically true. Not at all. Not at all. So he means so that's be'ikr. Be'ikr means the foundation, Ratzon Hashem, and that has to permeate our understanding. Hashgacha pratis today